Ubisoft just dropped their new Assassin's Creed game trailer featuring Yasuke, and the internet was not happy, saying, "Why Yasuke when there are so many more interesting samurai? Stop putting Yasuke in everything. Japan is Wakanda for white people." What does that even mean? Yasuke wasn't a samurai. He was a retainer who allegedly used a katana once or twice. Others are claiming that Yasuke was never a samurai, but a documented retainer. So who is Yasuke? And was he a samurai? For those who don't know, Yasuke was a real historical figure and a samurai. In English, retainer is what Yasuke is often translated to be depicted as. However, in Japanese history, this is what is written.
とりあえず辞書引いとく。安家の位に関する記述って残っていなくて、胡椒あるいは武士のどちらかだと思われてるんですよね。どっちも侍です。
He was either Bushi or Kosho. So since these internet trolls are claiming Yasuke is not a samurai, that he's a retainer, this has sparked a debate where entire Japanese families are bringing out their family history. Like, put yourself in their shoes for a moment. You've been told for generations that you are a descendant from a retainer. Now, all these internet trolls are telling you that you've got your history wrong, and you are not from a family of samurai anymore. You've got it all wrong. I would be furious. Rin Fujikake said, "The Yasuke was a retainer, so he wasn't a samurai" argument makes me roll my eyes so much. I'm descendant from Fujikake Nagakatsu, who was a retainer of Oda Nobunaga, aka absolutely a samurai. Now let's talk about Yasuke's background. Yasuke arrived in Japan in 1579 with an Italian Jesuit missionary, Alessandro, possibly as his bodyguard. It is not known, however, whether Yasuke was enslaved or free at the time. In 1581, with Alessandro, Yasuke traveled to Kyoto, where they met Oda Nobunaga. Fun fact, Nobunaga's armor was the inspiration for Darth Vader's armor. And it wouldn't surprise me that Nobunaga Oda was the exact inspiration for Darth Vader, because guess who else executed Order 66? Nobunaga. He killed women, children, and a temple full of warrior monks. Sound familiar? Yeah, well, Oda burnt down that temple just like Anakin did. Pre-Vader, the galaxy was filled with Jedi Knights, warrior monks. Post-Vader, the Jedi were mostly extinct. The same is true for Nobunaga's enemies. There were something like 300 warring states, each with their own warlords, almost like their own countries. To give you an idea, there were more states than countries in the world today. In Japan, post-Nobunaga, he unified all of them, and he went down in history as one of the three great unifiers of Japan. Now, despite what the haters say, Yasuke's journey is actually quite fascinating. He stood at 6'2", and his height is what stunned Nobunaga Oda. And Nobunaga initially thought Yasuke's skin was painted and ordered his servants to scrub it off. When he realized it was Yasuke's natural skin, he threw a feast in his honor. This is something that pretty much nobody has the opportunity to have. Basically dinner or lunch or food or any feast with a warlord like Nobunaga Oda. And Nobunaga was so impressed that he made Yasuke his vassal, retainer, and bodyguard. An incredible honor, as only 10% of people in Japan at that time ever became samurai. He also met Tokugawa, or if you've been watching Shogun, Toranaga-sama is the fictional version of the real historical figure Tokugawa, who was also one of the three unifiers of Japan. But most importantly, he even fought alongside Nobunaga until the very end, and tried to escape with Nobunaga's son, Nobutada, who was also eventually captured, and they both ended up committing seppuku. So, what do we know about Yasuke? Well, we know that he was incredibly loyal, and he was a samurai. Truly one of the coolest stories in history. And people don't want to see this character in a game. Now, Twitter seems to think Ubisoft staff are freaking geniuses for using an African samurai as a human meat shield, as a means of advertising their game by manufacturing fake controversy. So what do you think? Do you think this was the worst decision Ubisoft has made yet? Let me know what you think in the comments.